Swayy. Looks like it's taking some time to get live. All right. Waiting for folks to come in. Take a little bit of time. Settle in. Keep an eye on the chat as folks come in. Also, everyone, please let me know if you can hear me clearly. I want to make sure my mic is on sync here. And yes, you can clearly tell I have dressed up so much for Halloween. A minute before we kick off the intro. Hold on a second. You're good. Awesome. Sounds good. I'm just going to keep my mic on my headphones off until I need to, just because this session could run a little long, so I just want to keep things jovial for now. Actually, I might put my headphones on in a half second here, because I kind of want to hear my intro too. Looks like folks are filing in. Like to see it. Love to see it. It's going to be about less than a minute. Oh, 7 o'clock. We're hitting the intro, folks. Welcome to Bandwidth. All right. Glad to have everyone in on this Halloween. Ooh, we're going to be spooky. Actually, we're totally not going to be spooky. For full disclosure, I have not had time in the month of October to prepare anything for Halloween. So this is going to be, well, I'd say that it was going to be chill up until a certain point where I realized, oh, wait, thanks to the Halsey review, I've now hit 46,000 subscribers. So, yay, celebration. Celebration's there. Yeah, full disclosure, I did not expect to see that much of a pickup. I didn't expect the Halsey review to do nearly as well as it did, full disclosure there. Even especially as, again, I didn't really care for the album. I mean, I had thoughts on it, but again, I think there's a way of approaching that project, and I think I may have been extremely lucky at the timing and placement of how I approached it. But in the meantime, yeah, I hit 46,000 subscribers. Normally, this would be where I would do some sort of Q&A or some like a special stream specifically to commemorate that. I guess what I'm going to do instead here is I might as well just take use of the stream I already have, do a bit of a longer Q&A here, at least until someone annoys me, and then I hop straight into Bandwidth proper. And again, just for all those who are aware, Bandwidth is my series where I go in depth on, well, what's been recommended to me on Bandcamp as of recently. Normally, as I would take some time in order to get through all of it properly, and again, sometimes you don't have the time to get through all of it, so I figured why not go through all of you? We have a bit of a listening party, have a little bit of a nice fun vibe here. I'd certainly be down for that. And again, those of you who are actually going to show up on a Halloween instead of, well, doing anything else, I do appreciate that. So it might be a very chill, very low energy stream tonight, at least for all of y'all. But again, given the past couple of weeks I had in terms of stress, in terms of overall nonsense happening, I am very grateful for a bit of a quieter night that is actually sorely needed. All right, let's take a look at what we got in the comments section here. I want to see how everyone is doing. Are you not out scaring children with lingua ignota? You know what? Like, at some point, that can be fun. It's more scaring the neighbors because I have a pretty strong system upstairs, and that just kind of like scares everybody for like the surrounding reasons. But truth be told, I don't feel like inflicting trauma on people on this Halloween. I'm actually in a good mood. It's nice. All right. So you're reviewing Halsey. Forgot. Okay, I'm not dealing with that right now. Well, I'll be very real. I've seen a lot of discourse around and discourse when it comes to specific critics in terms of how they address art. I I have lots of thoughts on it, but I'll be very honest, I don't always feel like an open live stream is the best place to address said thoughts. That's what my Discord is for. So if you guys want to actually get access to that top tier of YouTube memberships, or my Patreon, where we actually have had some pretty interesting conversations surrounding reviews, commentary on commentary, and thereof. If you guys want to have a bit of a view into that, that's how you get to it. Favorite Halloween song or album? I don't really have. Here's the odd thing about me. I don't love Halloween as a holiday. I know, shocker. It's fun. It's okay, fun to get dressed up and have a good costume that's flexible. I guess this kind of might be a like not demographics thing, but kind of geographical thing. When I grew up, I was in Manitoba, which was like middle Canada, the Midwest in comparison to the States. The thing is, we always had snow by Halloween, and it was cold often. So if I was going out and doing trick or treating, no one ever got to see your costume because you had to wear like a heavy weather jacket and gloves and a hat, and you kind of lost some of the impression of it. Now, thanks to global warming, that's a little bit less of an option, but at the same time, I'm not huge into a lot of horror movies, or like especially not splatter movies. I don't go for a lot of traditional horror spook house stuff. A lot of the horror I like tends to be more psychological, and like there's stuff I will like to get engaged with in that scene. But Halloween for me, I also don't love dressing up, at least not in terms of costumes or cosplay. I don't think I'm very good at it. I don't think I've ever pulled off any particularly good costumes outside of maybe 2 years. One where I went as Captain America, and one where I went as Mad Max, and that was fun. Like I kind of had a few Halloween costumes I was happy with it. Honestly, outside of that, not a ton. It's not really for me in the same way. I know a lot of people get way more into it, and congratulations with them. And for all the folks who are not into it to the same degree, this is a much more chill live stream. You ever consider doing long form content talking about Glee? I kind of think Mike the Snare nailed the majority of it. I do have more I could say about it, in terms of like character dynamics, in terms of overall observations about the series, but that would involve me having to rewatch it, and I don't have time to do so. How are you coming on Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia album? I've got work I'm doing on that. It's probably not going to be the next review because I kind of want to do a week that's all hip hop. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the upcoming release schedule for this Friday. Outside of The Cure, a lot of rap. So I kind of want to stack up a bunch of releases in that category and just do rap album, rap album, rap album, rap album. I feel like I've been a little bit short on it, especially in the back half of this year. All right, on topic. What are your thoughts on Warning by Green Day? Underrated album. I often feel like it gets a little overshadowed in comparison with a lot of their 90s run, and I think Warning's actually pretty solid, especially when they got a little bit more artistic. It kind of foretold a lot of what they would do later. All right, let's keep looking at here. All right. Are you curious to cover the new Big X the Plug album? The issue I have with Big X the Plug is that for as good of a taste in production as he has, and for as much as I like his voice, he doesn't say a lot. I find myself wishing that Big X the Plug was a little bit more interesting as a rapper, and that's kind of the frustrating thing I have, because I'm like, you have such good taste, I want you to do more with it. You've laid down such a strong foundation. Next step. Hasn't happened yet. At some point, I'll probably give the album a listen on my own time. I will have to see where it goes. All right, let's take a look what else we have here. Just looking at things here. Looks pretty quiet. Hey, nothing wrong with it being a little bit quieter. One thing I'll also say, again, if you guys want to have questions that get to the top of my attention, super chats, again, are always appreciated. Don't feel obligated. Tough times, I understand. But if you want to and get my immediate attention, again, alongside YouTube memberships, always welcome. Okay, first time it's caught a Spectrum Pulse stream. Good to see you at Halloween night. I totally gave the biggest upload tape. Oh, that's good. Again, this is not going to be a big spook house stream. I know that's what some people would do. That's the reason I'm not in costume tonight. I'm looking to keep this relatively routine and normal because, again, if you guys had an idea of how IRL, how insane the past couple of weeks have been for me, a little bit of a breather is a good thing. Just The, I mean, remember to breathe. We're all in this for the long haul. All right. What's the next project you'll come in the next project? I kind of want to cover that Kelsey Ballerini project. Like, it looks interesting to me, and again, like I really loved her 2023 album. Again, I just need to sit with it. I need to be sure of where I'm going to be going on it. I don't know where it's going to go, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, how much jazz do we have this week? Doesn't look like a ton of jazz, honestly. There's going to be some, as inevitably there will be, but I think it might be a little less than last week in terms of jazz. Again, so I hate to break this all down to you. There's a little bit more rock from what I can tell, which again might keep a little bit more hook driven. There's not any super long songs. I think there's like one, maybe 8-minute song later on in the evening. We'll have to see where it all goes. Now, Voltorb's going to come alive in the stream. Voltorb is very good, and Voltorb understands his place, at least in terms of this overall scene. I don't want Voltorb to get too agitated. Okay, let's go. Boo, I need Jazz to help out with the inevitable crash out tonight. Yeah, I get it. I kind of want more Jazz too, but it is what it is. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes I'm stuck with what I get in the recommendations. I'll take or leave where it goes for there. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so one thing I want to highlight here is I don't know if you've been paying attention. It looks like Young Thug's sentence has been passed down. He's sentenced to probation. And from there, it looks like some of it has been commuted into time served. So he is coming home. After the hell of his legal system in his trial, I think that is a net positive. Again, like regardless of what he's done one way or the other, the fact that he was not adequately served appropriate justice, and given the whole circus things were there, I'm happy he's coming home. One thing I will be interested to see is how his relationship with Gunna will manifest. Inevitably, things are happening behind the scenes that we don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what will happen the next couple of weeks. All right. And no, I'm not covering the new Vampire Weekend. Why on earth would I cover the new Vampire Weekend? I think there's other reasons why I'm not a huge fan of the band. The stuff I heard from the new album I don't like, and given the allegations around the band, yeah, I have no interest. It's also very telling when certain critics basically decide to conveniently ignore allegations when it's from acts they like. Yes, I know I'm right about Contra. Did I hear about the Lil Durk situation? Yeah, I did. Ugh. That's a rough one. I've only seen pieces of it. I do not claim to have a full insight on the in-depths of his case. The amount of times he tried to run and the various places that he was trying to get to didn't show the best of coordination or judgment. Again, we'll have to see how the legal case shakes out, but it sucks overall, especially given how much of his art was showcasing him trying to get out of that situation. And it's the ugly paradox of expecting rappers to live their rhymes, and then when they talk about the true hell that it is, and they're trying to get away from that, a lot of people will then try to counter it. So you have a lot of those guys trying to stay in the streets, and it winds up backfiring, often in horrific ways, or their past catches up to them in even worse ways. All right, here we go. What are albums you want on vinyl that are rare to find? I actually have some thoughts on this. The big one I've always said is Jhené Aiko's 2017 album Trip. I don't know if anyone has seen what that album is now going for on Discogs. Look it up and get back to me. It's a little nuts. The other thing I'd like to get, and this is something I'm regretful of not spending a little bit more on, were Kaz albums, like especially some of this projects on vinyl, like Honor Killed the Samurai or Descendants of Cain, which their albums I think are great albums. I just never got a chance to actually get around and buy vinyl because it was always expensive. But since he passed, it kind of breaks my heart that a lot of vinyl reselling scum have decided to hop up and are like, oh, we bought up his remaining stock and now we're going to flip it for 5 times the value. It's really, really pathetic. I really don't like that at all. All right. Have you heard the Jade from Little Mix songs? I haven't. Again, I know there's stuff going on with Little Mix over in the UK. I just have not had the same level of visibility to what those songs are like. It's hard to follow the UK charts sometimes because sometimes there's a lot of over there. Okay. Yeah, scalpers do suck. Yeah, I feel it's comfortable calling them scalpers or people who play the market when it comes to their vinyl records. And you know what? I don't have to say anything more about this. If y'all haven't seen my video record year, where I talked for about 3 hours about vinyl and the music industry at large, I highly recommend you all go see it. I'm just going to keep plugging that because it didn't get nearly as many hits for the amount of effort I put into it. I think that video is really special. It's probably the thing it's probably what I'm second most proud of this year. Yeah. And yes, everyone is asking. I am going to cover the new Tyler album. I just need a little more time with it, honestly. And I kind of want to do it. As one of the big hip hop projects that I want to get to. But there's stuff that I kind of want to do a bunch of rap albums in a row. So it just might take me time to get through all of them. The funny thing is, I don't often get a lot of rap records requested from my Patreon stuff, which does kind of bug me a little. I gotta be honest, because like it's the sort of thing that drives traffic. Often is a genre I like to talk about, but I don't know. It can be kind of sporadic how often people request them in comparison with um, generic rock music. Sorry, the generic rock music got caught in my throat there. Yeah, get ready for Little Uzi Vert to start the month this Friday, as of tomorrow. Yeah, I know. I don't know what to expect from Uzi. Pink Tape I didn't think was terrible. I thought it was mediocre. But again, I think there's a lot of people who had a lot of backlash toward Pink Tape, and I don't know. I've heard worse. I've heard worse from them. Like, I still don't think Eternal Atake is any good. So, do you usually hear music in any other languages? I hear music in a bunch of languages. So long as I can find a quasi decent translation, I don't mind covering them. Now, granted, my issue is I tend to prefer music in English. It just gives me that added little bit of resonance because I am a writer myself. But again, I don't mind covering stuff in other languages. There's stuff that's been requested that I unfortunately have not had a chance to get to because, oh dear God, there is so much music out. And well, again, November is going to be the last month that I will take requests, so I can have the basically December to get through my backlog, and there's entirely too much of my backlog to get to. Uh, I thought your vinyl video was going to be an entire record showing through your whole collection. Funny story about that. See, I was originally going to use that video as kind of soft launch, like a vinyl going through my collection video or a series of some kind. The problem is twofold. First off, all my vinyl is upstairs, and that would require me going upstairs and having to haul down a lot of heavy records down here. The other problem is, and this is something I'm a little surprised to admit, I haven't really bought a lot of vinyl in the past couple of months at all. I'd love to go to a record store and get more and restock my catalog, but there's just I bought some that I know is going to be rare or hard to get, like especially from albums that I know are going to go eventually very high on a sort of resale market, depending on where they show up on various people's list. But I haven't had a chance to get a lot of vinyl. I wanted to talk about it more, showcase more, maybe have an excuse to write it off of my taxes, but no, not really the case. It happens. All right. You heard the new Devin Townsend project. I have not heard it. Thinking about covering it. Again, I have no idea where he's going this time, so I'm not averse to covering it. I just again having time for it. Hope it's good. Honestly, like it's been a while since I found a Devin Townsend album that I've really, really loved. Yeah, Honora, I have not seen. I need to set up some rules around movie requests because I gotta be honest, they are some of the most difficult things for me to cover on my channel. And the big reason why for that is I need time to book off time to get to a screening and then actually see it, make time to actually then sit down, like sometimes script something, sometimes not, then edit all that piece. Movie reviews are one of those things I don't do very often. I don't mind doing them, but at the same time, they're also I need to set up. It really drives me nuts when a movie gets requested on a Saturday, and I'm like, oh crap, I need to find time this weekend to get the review out, or the review is not going to have the same relevance, or it's not going to get the same traffic. The other fact is that, like in comparison with other film critics, I don't always feel like I'm on the pulse as much as I would otherwise like to be. Pardon the pun. Do you think the massive amount of big name releases this year will affect the mainstream for the next year? Just a small thought I was thinking regarding the scope of this year. I don't think so. Because you always get surprised in terms of who releases things and who doesn't. I think there's been a number of big name releases this year, but there's also been there's a subsection where we're always going to get follow-ups. We're always going to get follow-throughs. My guess is that 2025 we get at least one Taylor Swift re-release. That will inevitably happen. My guess is probably Reputation. I think there's going to be a lot of people will put out albums, and while there's a lot of names who have put out albums, there's names that put out albums every year. It's a little bit like I feel like you can't really project onto a following year whether or not there's going to be a slowdown. You always find stuff that's otherwise going to surprise you. And I also think the increased focus on having the big names that release music is kind of detrimental to the larger scene. Like, okay, a name, like maybe it's a year that didn't have a lot of big names dropping projects. Go into the underground. Go look for something outside of the big names. You might even find something, dare I say, you might like. Yeah, Kendrick is going to come in 2025. I would be shocked if he didn't. I also think Baby Keem is probably coming as well. That J-Rock album, I'm expecting to come out. And I keep hearing, I've been hearing all year that the Eclipse album was coming. I don't know where the hell that is. The only slowdown that came was 2020, 2021. Really? I didn't see a slowdown there at all. Think about 2020, 2 Taylor Swift albums. Dua Lipa, The Weeknd, Ariana Grande, those are all big names. You see that was when DaBaby was big as well. There were a lot of people who put out big projects in 2020. It almost again, I reviewed I think it was 300 plus albums in 2020, also 300 plus projects in 2021. You will always have more than enough music if you go looking for it. Everything was Q1. That's not true. That's not true at all. Taylor's albums were midsummer and late in the year. Jhené Aiko was Q2. Dua Lipa and The Weeknd were end of Q1, beginning of Q2. Yeah, there's a lot that happened in those years. Again, if anything, there was a bountiful amount of good music that occurred in those years. A lot of it, you just had to go looking for it. The trio Flow, I haven't. Not really. Yeah, and the other thing is, if I'm looking at this year, one thing that has been stridently clear is the big names have not provided my favorite music. Even in the second half of this year, if I'm going to, I don't consider JPEG Mafia a huge name, but he put out a phenomenal album. Karen Jonas is still largely independent. Hamish Hawk, independent. Kelly Lee Owens might be the bigger name, and she's on a side imprint of Dirty Hit, and Dirty Hit can't promote their music for shit. So yeah, that's a whole situation. I think there's a lot of larger names, and they're even still again. I want to stress this. The whole precedent of big names is based off of marketing. It's not based off of the quality of the music or even really the popularity of the music. It's based off of how much circulation it gets and how much people talk about it. Because, again, the one thing that I found very interesting is that the majority of critics, especially on YouTube, they likely spent more time talking about Brat by Charlie XCX, which is a good album, but I don't think it went to number 1 either of its major weeks. I don't think it did. I could be wrong with the original Brat, but I know the remix album was beaten out by Jelly Roll. And I bet you couldn't find, outside of country-specific quarters, I don't think anyone actually talked about that album. And I don't plan to talk about that album because it's bloated as hell and it's got one subject matter. Doodle-doodle-doo. As your album of the year contenders changed, it's honestly, God, this is one of those years where it's very much been in flux. I don't know what my number one album of the year is going to be. I still think I got 2 months left, and I got a whole stack of albums I have not gotten through yet. It could very easily change 4 or 5 times over. I don't know yet. Yeah, Taylor and Beyonce, yeah, both too long. People stop dropping once the lockdown started. Okay, Tom Kitewood, you're categorically wrong here. Again, categorically, Taylor Swift 2 albums in the course of the year. There were albums that dropped in the course of pandemic because, and I have to stress this specifically, music was still being made throughout the course of the pandemic. The fact people had home studios, the fact that people were able to better isolate, it let them put out a lot of projects. Hell, within 1 month, Run the Jewels 4, new Jason Isbell project, new Perfume Genius project. Those are all some of the best albums of their respective year. I don't know what to tell you here, man. Again, I've covered so much. There was so many projects that dropped in 2020 that it almost gets a little bit alarming when you go back and have to take a look at all of them. Yeah, Charlie XCX put out an album in lockdown. What are we even saying here? How I'm feeling now? That was actually honestly, it's aged pretty well. All right. Yeah, and 2021 was just as 2021 was bloated as hell, honestly. I probably covered a little bit too much in 2021, all things considered. And me being able to modulate that was a big process of getting back into this whole thing. Yeah, a lot of new music too, like 2021, Lil Nas X, Olivia Rodrigo. Those are just two off the top of my head. Casey Musgraves with that not good album. Yeah, again, it's kind of all over the place here. You will always have enough material to go to, and the focus on hype. Again, I push back against that. You don't need something to be popular in order to have good conversations about it. And the focus on that, I would argue, I would accentuate that, is that it brings down discourse. It simplifies it. You're asking for something to dominate a conversation when I would prefer to have so many more voices inside the conversation. It's one of the reasons I do bandwidth the way it is, that I don't take requests, because I actually want to focus on a broader array of material to get you guys into something that you would not otherwise have heard. That's cool, right? That's better than just having the same old tired ass discourse. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Ka. I agree with you, Ka, completely. Yeah, though it is the worst argument of optimism that just because something doesn't have numbers doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's not good. That's nonsense. Categorical nonsense. And you know what? All right, let's see what else. Streaming era playlist music started in 2021. Actually, I would disagree with that. The playlist era started closer to 2017, 2018. And you notice that most because of how playlist placements were doing specifically around Drake. Drake, I'll give him this. He was ahead of the punch on that. That's why he was able to album bomb the charts so effectively, because he had his connections within Spotify and just put all his songs from his album on those streaming playlists. All right. Let's see what else is here. Yeah, views. I would argue it might be if you're reading this is too late, because that was also an album bomb. People tend to forget that. Like Drake got 2 album bombs in 2015 with If You're Reading This is Too Late and What a Time to Be Alive. Yeah, Ed Sheeran had 2017. Yep, that's true too. And no, Taylor didn't have an album bomb in 2014 for 1989. I keep thinking that she did. I need to go back and check my records. I don't think she did. Yeah, that's kind of the other thing. What are we even talking about 2021? Ed Sheeran put out an album, and it inspired so much utterly rancid discourse. Lana Del Rey had 2 albums in 2021 that also nobody seemed to like, although Blue Bannisters has been very interesting to revisit in context. Ah. I don't think album bombs started until like 2016, 2017. They kind of did. There were a few, but they were limited. Like it really depended upon how albums were being sold at specific times and positioned. 2015, they were there because I remember the "What a Time to Be Alive" album bomb very explicitly. But again, I think where it really became most pronounced was 2016. Yeah, you know what, Cam? I think you're probably right with that. I think there is a lot of people who have kind of, and this is something I actually brought up in my Laura Marling review. I went back to listen to Songs for Our Daughter or Song for Our Daughter, and I'll admit I was probably a little unfair to that project. It was just hitting me at the wrong place and time in the middle of a pandemic lockdown. That's kind of hard because sometimes music will hit you at a poor time. I think that album has aged really well, and I like it a lot, but it wouldn't be something I don't think it's great per se. Whereas I think this one with a little bit more expanded orchestration actually connects a lot more strongly. And I think I think some of the domesticity of those themes landed better from other artists in the pandemic years in comparison with Laura Marling. Whereas this year, it's a little bit of a welcome breath of fresh air. I think it's actually, again, I think the writing is better, and I think the production's a lot better too. Uh, Thoughts on Lauren Mayberry going solo? I want to hear it. Again, I'm happy that we're finally getting that album. It feels like there's been a lot going on with that rollout that has me concerned, but again, fingers crossed. Like again, I don't think Churches has put out a bad album, and they have, in my opinion, 3 out of 4 best synth pop albums of the past 15 years. I think. Yeah, I'm comfortable saying that, especially the first two. Yeah, I agree with you, Rit. The singles have been very scattered, and not exactly in a way that gives me a lot of confidence, and that makes me worried. Again, I have hopes for it. I just don't know where it's going ultimately. All right. Just asking for everyone, how's the stream quality going? It looks on my end to having we got a really crisp stream going. That makes me very happy because we're about ready to. At least I'm about ready to start playing some music. Yeah, and Halloween has again. We're not doing any dress up for Halloween. We're keeping things very crisp, very low key. We're gonna play some music. We're gonna have some vibes. And hopefully, listen to something you haven't heard before. Maybe something you might like. You never know. And you know what? Let's get started on that. We've had good Q&A for the first half hour. Once again, thank you all so much for actually sticking around for some of this and just me chatting with all of you. One thing I will say, again, getting to 46,000, it's a little weird. Again, like we're starting to see a little bit more momentum with the channel. It's always going to be slow going. I've kind of come to accept that, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes I've also accepted that my audience is never going to be as big or as like Fantano's or some of the other guys because my style of content is thornier, I think is the more appropriate word. It's not for everybody, and I understand that. But I prefer to keep doing my own thing at my own pace. And hey, it's still lucrative, and I'm glad that you all are here. Thank you again. Thank you all so much for sticking around, especially getting me to 46,000. That does mean a lot. Let's see if I don't expect him getting into 50K before sometime in the new year, but hey, if it happened, that'd be kind of rad now, wouldn't it? All right, let's hop over to the Bandcamp. Let's listen to some music. All right, here we go. We got albums of the day here. That's where we have to start off with Bandcamp. I'm just pulling up my app on my end so I can track a lot of this. Okay. So, we're going to start off with Yatta from the album Palm Wine. I'm not really familiar with this. Let's click on it. It looks like we got some experimental music. It's tagged as more like folk and pop and jazz. That could be interesting. Apparently she was recorded. This is recorded all across the United States. Put a little bit of like some discussion here. The song specifically is called MTV from Yatta, from the album Palm Wine. Let's give this a listen.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's an interesting vocal arrangement.
If you say this time, maybe I go leave you alone. I be take me car, I go, I never come home. I need you near, need you dear.
That is a vocal choice.
And I see you long time don't pass, been not so picky no more. I mean, duty to be honest. I could go slow.
One, two, three, four. Yeah, there is a clutter to this. I don't hear the Shushu comparison. It's a little too warped and like the Shushu has a little bit more. Like this is too clean to be Shushu. I don't know about this, guys.
I need you, come home. I'm so damn alone. I hate you, it's hard. Bring your eyes back through. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure I feel this. All right, that was MTV from Yatta from her album Palm Wine. Not a good start. I gotta be honest. All right, so I think I see what that song was trying to do. It was it's got a bit of a shambling quality to the pop vine. Like the vocals were a little raw and unkempt. How they kind of there was a cluttered clash to them, and I think there was something to the groove where it kind of had a very clean kind of progression in terms of a little bit of swagger to it. I kind of think it is, but like, okay, I'm saying too many positive things. It doesn't work. I think the mixing is way too polished. I feel like when your vocals are that unkempt and clashing with each other and so often slipping off key, you kind of need something in the overall arrangement to keep it all knitted together. Or you need like some grit or something in the texture of the mix to actually have that make it feel more earthy and organic. And that is not really here. Yeah, I can't say a lot of positive things about it. I kind of wish I could, but uh, yeah, sorry folks, that didn't do much for me. All right, let's keep moving. From Shigeto, Cherry Blossom Baby. Okay, so we got some Detroit electronic music. That could be interesting. Let's see what we're talking about here. We have, hang on a second. Okay. That's the problem when you're trying to deal with a couple different things at the same time. This looks to be Detroit electronic music. Okay. So apparently this guy was involved heavily in lo-fi hip-hop, but, huh. Yeah, a lot of what I'm seeing here is an interesting description, but I'm not sure what the song we're going to get with this is. So the song is called Nothing Simple from Shigeto from the album Cherry Blossom Baby. All right, let's give it a listen.
Tiptoe towards the sun, in where we begun. The vibe is never done. Love will keep us one.
I don't mind this.
It's just the way it goes.
The bleeping groove has some like nice flow to it.
Blessings in disguise. The pain will soon subside. Morning brings the light. Soon we will take flight. It's just the way it goes. Waiting for, waiting for, the sound, waiting for the sound, waiting for the sound.
The haze of this is nice. Kind of hazy. I don't mind the haze of the track, like it, but I feel like the synth and the vocal leads are just not in sync with each other that well. That was Nothing Simple from Shigeto from the album Cherry Blossom Baby. I don't want to be harsh with this because I feel like there's a core of something here that works a little bit better than that last song. The one thing I will say about this that immediately stands out and I think could work is that the groove is not bad. There's clearly more focus on that shuffling percussion and that fat bass line. You definitely see the hip hop like inclinations coming from Shigeto that kind of influence how he's producing this. The problem is everything else around it kind of clashes awkwardly. I think the vocals kind of drizzled on top, especially with so much auto-tune, feels really off kilter with that flattened synth backdrop. And the song doesn't kind of meanders in its own space. It doesn't really have much momentum to it. It just kind of shambles around, and I don't know. I feel like it's the sort of track that could work, that seems to be trying to set a vibe, but feels more uncomfortable with doing so. And that kind of lost me a little bit. It is what it is. I don't think it's bad, but I wasn't overjoyed by that. Gotta say it. All right, let's keep moving. Now, as a bunch of you have all noticed, Cindy Lee Diamond Jubilee is an album I have already covered. The funny thing here is that this album got so much critical acclaim this year, especially earlier this year when it was very exclusive. You had to download it from a very Web 2.0 website where it was a free download that Cindy Lee had, or you had to pay a little bit. I can't remember what. And it was very much in the vein of the old DIY blog era, and a lot of people blew up over what Cindy Lee was doing, and that was kind of compelling. I'm not gonna lie, it was. I think there was the phenomenon around it made for some good throwback music discourse. I guess the problem I had is that the album didn't stick that much. It stuck in patches. I feel like there are elements of it, I think, in terms of the very ragged storytelling that it had, was fascinating. And I do think that, again, I have a larger review that goes into detail about where I'm landing on this, which might be a little contentious because I'm a little cooler on it in comparison to everyone else. At the same time, part of its novelty was that you actually had to hunt to go get it. And that felt a little bit like outsider art. So now putting it on Bandcamp and giving it all the big publicity spiel, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if it's going to help this pop in the same way. Actually, let me check, because if it's on Bandcamp, I get it. If it's on streaming, that's going to bug me. Hold on. Let me check. Cindy Lee. And it's not on streaming. It's just on Bandcamp. Probably just for the physical release. I actually think that's better, I guess. All right. You know what? For those of you who haven't heard it, just that might give you a little bit of a taster to it. I think the opening song was actually pretty good. So let's play it. Yeah, I agree with you, Lena. I did feel that this album was kind of overhyped. I also think if you're in any level of depth in Bandcamp or Hypnagogic pop, you will not be as wowed by this. That is nice, though. It absolutely a vibe with that cycling tone. The guitar work on this song is really, really nice. One thing also highlight is that if you get into the lyrics of this album at all, and it is largely on Genius, it actually is worth highlighting how distinctly Canadian this feels in an odd way. I'm not going to get into details here, but I do kind of love how a very specific Canadian queerness is all across this album, and I like that a lot. Actually black, it's like dirt gray. I mean, I did hear the album. I reviewed it. That was Diamond Jubilee by Cindy Lee from the album Diamond Jubilee. That's actually a pretty good representation of the album. I think that title track is actually pretty good for that. I don't love the vocals being in that high whispery tone, but I do think the guitar work is really nice. I think the cyclical melody lines, they do stick with you. The song kind of runs out of gas. It runs a little long for my taste, but that's also the story of the album, which is way too long. Overall, it's pleasant. It has the feel of going into like an antique record store that's a little bit weird, and you can't make eye contact with the guy at the front desk because he's kind of a little strange and he's perpetually high. That's the kind of vibe I get from this. I've been to bars that are seedy enough to play that unironically, and it would make sense. But overall, like, again, the Cindy Lee album is really good. I just don't think it's great. I don't have my mind blown in the same way. And I kind of question whether or not you're putting it on Bandcamp kind of mellows its novelty in the same way. I do feel bad for Cindy Lee having to cancel the tour because they just got so overwhelmed by all the critical hype courtesy of Rate Your Music and Album of the Year. That sucks. But again, if they're re-releasing, trying to get some cash out of it, I hope they do. All right. Yeah, Tom, please stop being a dick, or I will have to handle you myself. All right, let's keep moving here. All right, let's keep moving here. From various artists, College Music presets Phonosynthesis. So, okay, I'm normally a little tentative when it comes to compilations, but this one kind of caught my interest. It was describing influence from an older electronic album, and I'm like, okay, I normally have a little questionable when it comes to comps, but again, some of the names are pretty interesting. I kind of wanted to hear where this was going to go, so this is a song from Caitlin Aurelia Smith called Glisten. And we got some electronic music coming, a little bit more on the analog chill side. Let's give this a shot. Ooh, pretty. Change the lights. Because now can. There we go. Very fluttery. The interplay that comes with the brighter keys alongside that deeper like warble. Not much groove to it, but this absolutely feels like a textural experiment first. It's pleasant. That was Glisten by Caitlin Aurelia Smith from the album College Music Presents Photosynthesis. That was really nice. Again, pleasant. I think it's a better way to describe it. Didn't have much in the way of groove, and I don't always think the synths that being so buzzy and analog always interwove with each other as well as they could have, but yeah. You know what? It was nice. Kind of not a lot to say about it and it probably works better in the larger context of the piece. But yeah, I kind of dug that more than I thought I would, honestly. Yeah, again, it's more of again, as I was saying, a textural experiment, but it was a pretty nice one. And to answer the question for those in the chat, I think I've said this before what my headphones are. Let me pull them off here. These are Audio Technica's ATH M50Xs. They are great headphones. Tend to emphasize the mids and highs a little bit more. In my experience, that tends to work for me. I don't tend to prefer like a lot of stuff that's over heavy or bass or blows out. And I do agree, like when it comes back to that song, I think the shorter length does help. It feels a little bit more like a sonic tidbit that wants me to be more engaged in the larger thing. All right. Let's get back to what we're doing here. We go back to album today. So the Primitive Art Group is actually a compilation. That's a bunch of 80s music. We're going to skip away from that. Let's go to Bandcamp. Kelly Lee Owens' Dream State. Okay, if we get to the end of it, I'm going to play a song from this album because this album absolutely is gorgeous and I love it. All right. We're going now to New and Notable here. All right, we're going to start off here. I'm actually kind of excited because I haven't done this in a while. Can't be honest with all of y'all, I miss Bandwidth. Like, it's such a good chill vibe. And like, this is something I'm excited for. All right, so we've got some hardcore, we got some punk coming here from a band called Candy from the album Flipping. So we're going with the title track here. Got some hardcore. Let's see what we're getting. Yeah, I hear the sludge comparison. Those switch-ups are more metalcore, though. That feels very metalcore to me. I have to be honest, I'm not loving the tempo changes. I feel like the song is just losing its attempt to get momentum. Yeah, Lena, I kind of agree. Oh, God. Oh, the scratches. Oh, dear. Wow. Congrats. This feels like so 97. I feel it. I feel it. All right, more stable groove. I like that. Interesting choice to go for the fade out. Okay. That was Flipping from the album Flipping by Candy. You know what? For as much as comparisons as we were making to sludge metal or maybe even hardcore, to me, the second the scratches come in, I'm like, oh, new metal. It feels like very polished, a little bit less groove-centric new metal. Like, especially given the focus on groove, the lyrics, the album art. Like, they're definitely, again, not quite Candy, obviously. But, again, the second the record scratches came in, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. Honestly, that kind of leads me to my issue, though. It feels a little clean for me. It feels like there needed to be a little bit more meat in the low end to really pay off some of that groove. I feel like it was decent, but again, like it feels like it should have been a little bit more visceral than it was. As it is, it honestly felt a little polished. A little more polished than it should have been. Yeah, like again, kind of like, yeah, hard candy. Ha ha ha. But again, like it wasn't bad. Like I think the tempo change-ups kind of lost me a little bit because I never was able to get a full pounding momentum going, and they had momentum in chunks of it, but never consistently. That's kind of where the song lost me. Still kind of fun. Not gonna complain. All right, next up. Okay, so this is from High Viz. Full disclosure, someone has already put this on my Patreon schedule. I have not heard it yet. I don't know what to going into this, but we got some post-hardcore coming. I like post-hardcore. So okay. From the album Guided Tour by High Viz, this song is the title track. Let's give it a shot. Let's get some switch up. Ooh, yep, I get it. Get the lights right. There it is. I agree, Kaw. This is like, it's off. There we go. '80s vibes, also some Britpop vibes as well. Like, this would have worked in 92. Like, between 88 and 92, this would go off. Little U2 influence as well with that guitar work. And no, Lena, I didn't have a chance to get to the new Echo Astral. Just haven't had a chance. I kind of want to hear this album now. This is good. I like this a lot. Oh, that's so U2. That is so U2 right there. That texture. Okay, I like this a lot. That's pretty. It's just a visit to you. The bass is thicker though. Like, I think that's what the bass has got, that some of that post-hardcore flourish to it, because it's a little bit. Oh, it's fading out. Okay. That was Guided Tour by High Viz from the album Guided Tour. I like that a lot. Okay. You had my curiosity, now you have my attention. That was great. I really enjoyed that. Again, the comparison is very obviously U2. But it's U2 at peak U2, which is late 80s, early 90s. I'm not complaining. I don't know if I can say it's peak U2, because I love War. I love War a lot. But it is an era of U2 that I really like. And this has some of that rattling intensity that I really like from the early edge. And it also has a little bit rougher side, especially in that bass line. There's a little bit more muscle to this that actually kind of caught me off guard. Yeah. Color me intrigued. I'm going to check that album out now. That was kind of cool. Yeah, War never changes. All right. Skipping over the next one because it is a compilation, and I'm not gonna be honest, I'm not exactly interested in listening to Edgar Allan Poe poetry readings, at least at this point in time. Next one is a bit of a remix project, paying tribute to the 1973 animated classic Belladonna of Sadness. Okay, interesting. The song that we have here is When All Is Lost, featuring JK. It's a Limbs remix. Okay, the album's called No Tears, No Sighs, Only Tomorrow Vanishes. Hang on. No Tears, No Sighs, Only Tomorrow Vanishes Scraps by KHLD. This feels like it's a Scraps album. I don't... All right, hang on. I'm going to read the little bit description here. No, this looks like it's an EP. It's got about half of it that looks like it's legit. The other half is a bunch of remixes. We're starting with one of the remixes. It's only 4 minutes. I don't know what we're going to get with this. Let's give it a shot. Oh. Dark ambient and industrial. Fun. All right. Let's get some spooky. Hang on. I'm using the Guitar Studio. There we go. Interesting. Kind of haunted. Let's do something with it, though, please. Okay. That is creepy. I guess you wanted Halloween, y'all. Here we go. Like, I feel like there could be a jump scare, but I also feel like there is I kind of feel like it's just atmosphere building. Build. Come on. I like the build here. A little more distorted. Now, not gonna lie, there's a temptation for me to trigger a jump scare with my lights and setup here, but I think that might be mean. I'm not gonna do it. Or am I? You can do that. You don't know what I can do. It's part of my power. Austin Donnelly, thanks for joining the Welcome to the Watchers. I really appreciate you guys joining on Martin. Thanks for the new member. This is taking its time. So we're just going to fade out. Okay. This is dark. All right, that is When All Is Lost. You had me there. You had me. When All Is Lost, from KHLD, from the album No Tears, No Sighs, Only Tomorrow Vanishes Scraps. Okay, here's the thing. That could have been a really credible horror piece. I liked the swells. I liked the kind of distortion around, like the eerie vocals, the chatter back and forth. It reminded me of very French art house horror movies, which is kind of my shit. The issue here is, and when it got to the end where you hear like that slight melodic swell, a little bit more distortion, and it was kind of getting really, really eerie, and then you had the crying at the end. And that's bleak. It's dark. And then you hear a little bit of laughter at the end. I'm like, okay, no, congratulations, you destroyed your verisimilitude. All the atmosphere erupts in a puff of smoke. It was kind of the issue. The album I always go back to as the prime issue of where this happened was Miley Cyrus and her Dead Pets. Because at the very end of the album, she left so much studio chatter in. And I'm like, all of your emotional, heartbreaking, soul-rending songs, and then you're like, oh, is it good? Like, great. You completely break any sense of atmosphere that we might have bought in. That album is not good, but it could have had a chance of working if you kept the atmosphere going. And that song kind of runs into the same problem. Now, granted, it being a remix, you kind of expect some of those issues, but still, a little disappointing at the end there. All right, let's keep going. And now for something completely different. Tiny Flowers by Beth Torrance. Actually, it's New Zealand, so British accent's not appropriate. Song is the title track, Tiny Flowers. We got some indie folk coming. Let's give this a listen.
Don't think I ever meant to. We were sitting there for hours, and if I ever thought to, I'd bring you tiny flowers.
Very brittle arrangement.
And I would leave them on your nightstand and wait for you to find them. And I sat outside for hours.
Someone has heard a lot of Phoebe Bridgers.
To tell you how I felt. Yeah, I sat on the grass is my house, cornered by the fact that you're my favorite. How and I don't think I'll love anybody else. At least not in the way that I love you right now. And I would leave them on your nightstand and wait for you to find them.
Little strings are nice there. That's not bad.
Meant to reach for your hand, it just kind of happened like that, like that.
Man, that's a very brittle mix. But not in a way that feels like it's like raw.
Don't think I ever
Yeah, I hear that, Lena.
We were sitting there for hours. And if I ever thought to, I would bring you tiny flowers.
All right, that was from Beth Torrance, the song Tiny Flowers from the album the same name. Not bad. I don't think it was bad. I think the arrangement was actually kind of nice. It was very brittle. It was very fragile. I think that works well to accentuate the heartbreak of the song, or really the yearning of the song, trying to find that connection with someone where it seems like it's largely unrequited. I think the vocal delivery is it's very Phoebe Bridgers. And it's Phoebe Bridgers, and I mean that by saying late 2010s Phoebe Bridgers, where there isn't that added level of complexity that comes in the writing. It feels very winsome, very kind of sweet in a way, but honestly, outside of that, it doesn't do a lot. I think some of the strings in the backdrop across what counts as a hook was kind of nice, but that's the other thing. The song really didn't have much structure to it, and I feel like that kind of lets it down. Yeah, I don't hate it. I'd listen to it if it came up on a playlist. It's fine, but I'm also not going to remember it either. And that's kind of, when it comes to singer-songwriters, I kind of wish there was a little bit more that would grab onto me. Not a lot there. But all right, let's keep moving. Next up, we got some deconstructed techno coming. Oh, nice! This is going to be fun. This is from Alec Pace. The album's called "Escape from the Club." Well, obviously, you've all escaped. You're all here right now. And the song is called Linea. All right, let's give it a shot. Get the lights switched up here. There we go. What time signature is this operating in? There we go. Everyone going to a club after this. This is your pregame. A bit of an oily pulse to it. Not bad. Sure, there's a bit more texture to the percussion to balance out alongside the synths. Otherwise, it feels a little frail. The whirring knocks got something to it. 2, 3, and... There's something very metallic and hyperpop about this, especially with how the synth kind of dies off a little bit there in its tailing end. Kyle, I can never tell what you like, but this is... You know what? I don't love it, but if you're enjoying it, go ahead. Ooh. This is good. I like this. Or do I? I don't know. Kind of careening around a lot. Groove is very bubbly. Good knock to it. All right, that was Linea from Alec Pace from the album Escape from the Club. Okay, full disclosure, I don't love techno. I'm more of a house guy. I've said that for a while now. And deconstructed techno tends to lose me even further because it tends to be a lot more brittle. That kind of worked, though. Maybe it was kind of like the metallic elements around the synths and that vocal sample. It felt kind of a little hyperpop-esque. The song kind of took a while to assemble itself, but once it had assembled, like there was some bounce to that bass line. There was some groove to it. I don't love all of it. I felt like it was kind of constantly dying, and I kept waiting for it to shift to properly materialize. But overall, that was kind of fun. Yeah, like that was interesting. It had some bounce to it. I don't love it, but I get why somebody might. If you're interested, give it a shot. All right, let's keep moving. All right, next we have from Good Space. We got some alternative pop with soulful vocal from an act called Good Space, and an album called Let's Talk About Death. I mean, sometimes the Halloween stuff just sets it up for me. Anyway, the song is called She Don't Need You. Well, you don't know that about She, but let's see what we get here. Okay, taking a while to get going here.
She never left you, but she left you for herself. We're all together in a separate wishing well.
Okay.
She don't need you. So full of smoke that you could choke on every breath. I'm seeing promises stretch and stretch stretch and stretch. She don't need you. She don't need you.
I don't know what this is, but it's kind of... Now, Chromeo's not the right one. This is more... It's a little too chic to be Chromeo.
Nobody.
Yeah, this is an odd song. Like, this feels like it would have come out in like 2007, and like in a very, it would have been like an indie hit in 2007, but no critic would have respected it. The horns, that jaunty bass line, the touch of the guitar relic, like... Also, the lyrics are kind of wild here. I've got the lyrics on my phone in front of me, and it's like, okay. And the flute choice. Why? It's weird. I don't know if it... See, I got the commercial core thoughts as well. We'll get to this. We'll get to my thoughts on this. Like, this will soundtrack a commercial, but it'll be a good commercial. Where is this from? It feels like it's gotta be from... This feels like UK. New Zealand, okay. Oh, the percussion just got way more interesting. Nice. That was She Don't Need You from Good Space from the album Let's Talk About Death. Ha! I wasn't expecting that. And I think trying to describe it is a little bit tricky because it's very well composed. There's a lot of weird elements, but the fact they all fit together is a little striking. The bass line, the more textured percussion, the spikier guitars alongside those fat horns that go off. We'll get to the vocals in a second. It gave me the feel, again, I saw a commercial chord brought up, and I'm like, yeah, I could hear this in a commercial because it does kind of fit that specific brand of alternative pop where it is just safe enough that it could get played, but a little bit eclectic given the brand of instrumental choices, that flute that came out of nowhere. The other thing I think is very interesting about the song is that it had so much groove. I pointed to like between 2007 and maybe 2010, the very latest 2014. There was an era where this stuff would have been a thing kind of actually no, closer to 2007, because I think it was the area where there was more groove before the big flashy MGMT synths took over everything. Yeah, it's interesting. If I find something I don't really love about it, it's the vocals, which I find that quasi whispered vocal, which is very mid 2000s. it had some appeal. Like he's kind of setting up a little bit of a vibe there. But if you dig into the lyrics, and I have the lyrics in front of me, it's kind of basically he's acting as the friend to some guy who's like, yeah, like she left you behind, she don't need you. It's kind of goading him a little bit, which kind of makes sense for a specific brand of advertising to come in. Like, yeah, she don't need you, but you know what? You know what could need you? The right Toyota rep. Like, no, I can't sell advertising. I'm not good enough at writing it. Fascinating song. I don't know if it entirely works, but it is fascinating and not normally the thing we see on Bandcamp. That I will say expressively. All right, let's keep moving. All right. Next we have from Jake and Abe. Then the album Finally. Okay, we got some alternative R&B coming. God, I've been looking for some. And the song is called Incognito Mode. Oh, we know what's getting down here. We totally know what's going to happen. Let's give it a listen.
All I do is watch you. You are all I need. You are at a party.
Got some R&B vibes here. Nah. Yeah, that's better. I don't like that either. Ooh. The usage of pedal steel in this song is kind of fascinating. It's a very interesting addition to this brand of like funkier R&B. That pedal steel is such a choice. It is such a choice. Because I can imagine a country act who thinks that he is the hottest shit imaginable trying to do this.
All I do is judge you, picking you apart. You are wasting energy while I am making art.
Wow.
Don't work on being perfect, 'cause you already are. Oh yeah. You never know what I might find. Oh yeah. Falling away inside my mind. Oh yeah.
Noah, I agree with you. Okay, y'all. That was Jake and Abe from the album Finally, and the song Incognito Mode. Okay. You know what this is? Like, it's Chromeo meets Flight of the Conchords. Because there is totally that vibe with the vocal interplay between the two of them. If you actually go to the Bandcamp page and see a picture of these two guys, yeah, they'll look like that. They look exactly what you think they do. And it has some of that sense of humor that's a little goofier, but they're also got that funk to them. They have a little bit more swagger to them, and the jokes are there, but they're not obtrusive, which is more of the Chromeo side of things. And honestly, I had a lot of fun with that. That was really fun. Like, the pedal steel was such a weird choice, but I really respected them for doing it. The bass line was great. That was a lot of fun. I kind of want to hear if the rest of the album is that goofy, because that was very goofy if you were paying attention to it. Because there's no way these guys should be able to pull off some of the lines they did. Yeah, that was fun. I can't even begrudge anyone that. That was a lot of fun. All right. This is a re-release from Kill a Priest from an earlier album. We're going to skip over that. From 2021 album comes to vinyl, so we don't touch those. Next we have from Thus Love. Okay, we got some post-punk up in here. And the song is called Birthday Song from the album All Pleasure from Thus Love. Let's give it a shot. Ooh!
I try to hold. Do you believe the fall would criticize the spring? Yes, it kills, but it dies. I can't understand how it's been so long and we're still.
How is this labeled as post-punk? This is not post-punk. This is borderline post-grunge. Like, this would have done numbers in 95, 96. Lena, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, thank you! I'm enjoying it. Like, I know what this is, but very UK in this, too. Which is when I tell you guys these guys are from Vermont. I don't dislike it. It's fun. But I do find the clash of styles and how poorly this is labeled to be very funny.
Remember to breathe. It's the worst it will ever be.
The vocal layering is interesting with this too, because it is trying for a quasi Britpop vibe.
Remember to breathe. It's the worst it will ever be. Remember to breathe. It's the worst it will ever be. Remember to breathe. I can't understand how it's been so long and we're still best friends. There must be no charm, 'cause I'm not as smart and we're still holding hands. Yeah.
That was Birthday Song from Thus Love from the album All Pleasure. It's actually a pre-release. The album is actually dropping tomorrow, November 1st. If you're interested, give it a shot. Specifically, if you like a certain brand of Oasis crossed with mid-90s alternative rock. And you know what? I don't dislike it. There's a snotty edge to that I found a little bit appealing. They can write a hook. There's a hook melody there that's actually balanced out pretty well with their vocalist. And yeah, I was pretty impressed by that. A little bit of Dinosaur Jr. as well. That kind of stuck out to me, but that doesn't surprise me given that era. There's a lot of rock that bled into that. I don't know why the hell they label that as post-punk. It sure as hell's not post-punk. I also do find it very funny. Oh, excuse me. I do find it very funny this band is branded as American. And apparently they're from Vermont. They don't sound like that. They sound like a very UK band. Or they sound like a band that's from the Northwest. The fact that they have that cross-section of sounds is very funny to me. And yeah, like I enjoyed it. Again, to quote Lena here, definitely maybe. I definitely thought that there was something there. I'm not sure I'd go back to it much, but yeah, that was intriguing enough that it kind of got me curious to check out whatever that album is tomorrow. We'll see. All right, let's keep moving. All right, Diamond Jubilee. We already played that song. Fun stuff. All right, next up we have a mix of electronic from Submotion Orchestra, from one of the UK's most exciting groups, mix of electronica, soul, ambient, jazz, and dub. Okay, I like that sound. It's going to be a little bit of a longer song. The song is called Endpoint. It goes for about 6 minutes. Let's give it a shot. Lights are getting changed now. Make sure we get set the vibes in this here. Not quite what I want. No, not quite. There we go. That bass I like. I like that bass, how that's balanced there. Nice stitches of like sax there. No, it's not sax, that's horns. Ooh. Good chord change there. I like that. That was a really good transition. I know, we're short on jazz here, y'all. What is happening? Those transitions should be clunkier than they are. The atmosphere of this is really on point. I love those keys. It's funny you guys are making the jazz comparison because some of the percussion could afford to be a little bit more developed in texture to really flush this out, add a bit more organic flavor. The drum machine is not doing it for me. those melodic transitions are so good. God, I wish the drums were better. Oh, wow. It's really pretty. That was Endpoint by Submotion Orchestra from the project 5 Points. This is one of those songs I feel like I could be entirely the way on board with it because a lot of it works really well. The spacey, ethereal vibe, it felt very tropical in an interesting way. I liked how the lighter vocals really complemented the song well. There was a groove to it. And what really impressed me so well was how some of those tinkling melodic elements, especially coming in with those horns, how they transitioned so well. And the funny thing is that there kind of wasn't transitions per se. Like it felt like you could very clearly tell where it's in this specific melodic range and like, oh, we're jumping up a scale or, oh, we're jumping into this different section. But it never felt obtrusive. And that's really difficult to pull off. Like that could have been really disjointed and it wasn't. Now, the points I was saying in the mix was the conversation about the drums. And here's the thing. I don't think the drums should have been louder. I think they should have had a bit more texture. I think with a little bit more patter to them, like maybe get some bongos in there, something that's a little bit more, that's not obtrusive to the mix, but something that adds a little bit more organic foundation, that would have put it over the top for me. As it is a little filmy for me. I think it's a little too ethereal in its space. It's effective for what it's doing. And you know what? For a closing track, that makes a lot of sense. Like, again, when I put it in context, I get what it's trying to do. I think it could have stuck the landing a little better. But again, yeah, that was impressive. That was more impressive than I was expecting it to be. So yeah, you're interested, give that a shot. We're talking about Submotion Orchestra. Apparently they've got a lot of critical acclaim in the UK. Check it out. Or prove me wrong there. I'm not even sure. Okay, we got some alternative rock coming up next from Car, from the album I'm Just Bored. I'm surely hope you aren't. And okay, the song is called Scary Movie. Gee, the Halloween just keeps setting itself up. So I'm going to set up my lights ahead of time because I feel like it. All right, go to my lights. Go all the way red. And do I want to turn that light on red? And we'll see how it goes midway through the song. So it's called Car from the album I'm Just Bored. The song is called Scary Movie. Let's give it a shot.
Bet you think you're pretty clever, telling everyone you're best friends with the director.
Nah,
You
I'm
just
gonna
did
go
your
red.
dad a favor. Interesting, though you're boring. No one loves you more than you, it gets annoying. So here's a little story. If this was
Yeah, this isn't spooky at all.
a movie, you'd be the first to die. If this was a scary
Okay, that's good.
movie, I'd pretend to cry. 'Cause you're handsome, but you're stupid.
This would play at a 90s Halloween party. That was not trying to be scary at all. The writing's kind of winning me over, though. Oh my gosh.
If this was a scary movie, you'd be the first to die. If this was a scary movie, I'd pretend to cry. 'Cause you're handsome, but you're stupid. Off camera, you're pretty useless.
This could have afforded to be a little gnarlier, or have a vocalist who could sell this better. Like, I'm not sure how well the disaffection works with the song here. It works halfway. I can tell you who this reminds me of in a second. Hang on. All right, that was Scary Movie from Car from the album I'm Just Bored. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, it reminds me of someone trying to do the Chloe Moriondo thing, but without the emotional intensity to really sell it. Like, it's very pitch dark in some of the writing and lyricism in terms of some of the framing, and it's kind of witty, like a flat deadpan sort of way, but I'm not sure I was fully sold on it. Like, again, I feel like it's a song that could have afforded to get away with a heavier guitar or a little bit more like pep in the melody or a slightly sharper groove. As it is, it was funny. You got a couple good lines off, like, but at the same time, like, it's a good song that had the potential to be a great song. And again, funny, like, it had spark to it. But again, I think there's a lot of advertising that set this up as something that's really kind of not a bad thing per se. Like, it was a fine song. I'd put it in the upper tier of what we heard tonight, which is kind of all over the place. But it should have been better. I'll stand by that. Yeah, again, and I would agree with that. The production is not selling this as well as it should have. I think the production could have afforded to have a little bit more meat to it, but as it is, it kind of felt a little chintzy. And that's probably not how you want to sell something like this, especially with the attitude that a song like this is trying to sell. Okay, let's keep moving. All right, we got some alternative rock here again. Oh, what's with all the alternative rock tonight? Someone must have told them Lena was coming. All right, the song is called Thank You Deeply from Mystery Time. Time is spelt wrong. And the album is called Maudlin Tales of Grief and Love. Oh, boy. All right. The song's called Thank You Deeply. Let's hear it.
Salad days in Archway, self-doubt highway, on the phone in doorways. If you like me, I'm okay. Hi, can you help me? I don't know anything about you. I can't.
Interesting contrast, all the deadpan vocals with the horns. That's happened twice in Wine Night.
When I see you, I'm okay. 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 I'm glad you made me stay. I'm glad you made me stay. I'm glad you made me stay.
It does have a bit of a post-punk angle to it. Like, no, I don't think Ultravox is right.
Salad days in Archway. If you like me, strange way, but you persuaded me to stay. When I see you, I'm okay. 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 I'm glad you made me stay. I'm glad you made me stay. I'm glad you made me stay. When I see you, I'm okay. 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 I'm glad you made me stay. I'm glad you made me stay. I'm glad you made me stay.
I had some thoughts on this one in a bit. This is one of those cases of a song I think could have been done a little better, but I kind of get what it's doing.
You really helped me. You let me know that I'm okay, and that's why I can walk away. I don't know what else to say.
All right, that was Thank You Deeply by Mystery Time from the album Maudlin Tales of Grief and Love. You know what it kind of gave me the vibe of? Of a very specific type of like electronic assisted, kind of muted 90s pop, where again you had that drum machine, a very clear, very clean mix, a little bit of the flash of the horns. You get some of this coming out of the UK that had a little bit of that more polished inspiration coming out of the 80s, but now it's a little bit more sharply refined within a dance floor structure. And I'll be honest, excuse me, it wasn't bad. I think the horn line was really good. I think the bass line, it's a little bit forward, and I know I see some people talking about it, that felt a little thin. I think it feels thin because the percussion, because the drum machines felt a little bit like felt kind of brittle in the mix, and there wasn't any additional augmentation. The horn kind of sat on top of it without really blending well. I also think the vocals were not particularly interesting. He was very kind of flat, a little bit deadpan. I wasn't really buying into. Again, there's some level of sarcasm that translates in the song, where he almost seems to be grateful that whoever is pulling him along for this ride is taking him there, and that can work. But I feel like it was just kind of lacking. Like I feel like it was lacking a moment that really stuck. Very good vibe, but not much more beyond that. So, could have been better. All right, let's keep going here. All right, apparently this is an act called Dialup Ghost. They're a rock group. Okay, I'm just getting set up for the Halloween. Look at this album art. Like, look at this. Skeletons in, like, cowboy outfits. Okay, I'm being set up for this. One of them has a slingshot, one of them has a revolver. What am I supposed to do? Okay. The song is called Rhinestones. It's apparently some alt country and garage rock. That could be fun. And it's by a band called Dialup Ghost. The album is called May You Live Forever in Cowboy Heaven. The song is called Rhinestones. I'm kind of psyched. This could be fun. Let's hear it.
Rocky and Gunner, what could be funner than a baby in a barrel singing his carols to me?
I'm suddenly a lot less excited. I'm gonna have to say some mean things. Okay. Oh my God. All right, so that was Rocky and Gunner by Dialup Ghost from May You Live Forever in Cowboy Heaven. Yeah, that sucked. That really sucked. I'm not going to mince words about that. Everything about that just hit bad notes for me. I really hate when alternative rock acts decide, hey, let's do a country piss take, especially if they're out of Nashville and should know better. That was awful. That was awful. The badly syncopated vocals that were trying to do a Neil Young thing. Don't keep in mind, I have the lyrics up in front of me here. That's kind of why I was quiet for the initial part of the song, and amidst the abject disappointment. They actually reference Neil Young in their lyrics. Ha, you're not as funny as you think you are. I think some of the other issues with this is that it's just, the song doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, it's trying to be a bit of a piss take on an outlaw song. Like, but there's no punchline to it. Like, outside of, these guys think they're doing a wish fulfillment, but there's not really much here. Isn't that funny? It's funny, right? Please clap. Yeah, no. That is, you know what? Here's the thing. I went off in my MJ Lenderman review about a lot of acts who are in alternative rock and think they can do the country thing in order to get some level of credibility in the scene. And yet, so often, it sounds like this shit. And it drives me nuts because as someone who likes country, and as someone who doesn't mind when alternative rock borrows from country, this sort of thing feels like the most, like, smarmy piss take. We think we're better than what we're pulling from. And it just comes across as so obnoxious. Like, I'm sorry, you're not Neil Young. You can't pull this off. Neil Young had muscle, and he was a better songwriter than this. No, absolutely not. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I appreciate that, Lena. That is an appropriate analogy. God, that sucked. Let's palate cleanser here. Okay, let's keep moving. All right, from Luke Wyland. He's from Portland. You got some ambient music. Thank God. All right, near ambient tracks that glisten like rain upon flowers. That sounds like exactly what I need right now. It's gonna be about 8 minutes long. Take a breather. We're good. Remember to breathe on this for the long haul. But all right, from the song Click Clap, from Kuma Cold by Luke Wyland. Let's give it a shot. Very unstructured pianos right now. So I did a bit of reading about this song. We'll come back to what it's trying to do in a bit. So it's interesting. Not immediately bad. Not sure this is earning its runtime, folks. That's out of tune. I know it's intentionally so, but we'll talk about it in a bit. So believe it or not, there is a reason why the keys sound like they're stumbling over each other like that. We'll get to it in a minute. I'm not sure it always works, but it keeps the track interesting at least. Some elements in the background of the atmosphere that try to do a bit more. Ooh, that's spacey. Now, if I told all of y'all that this is semi-improvised, could you tell? To me, it feels very obvious. Like the improvisational elements of this are very, very striking in the forefront. Okay, that was Click Clap from Luke Wyland from the album Kuma Code. Okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it even, because I think I read a little bit of the description in terms of what the song was and what the album is trying to do. Apparently, this is very much a semi-improvisational piece. And what it was looking to do was explore a period being out in the wild, but the artist himself was struggling with a stutter. So trying to be able to compose words or fully formed phrases. So there's an element in the song here where it feels like it's trying to capture the inability to fully express a complete thought, or a thought in the way that they would like it to be, which is why certain points will go off key. You get some slightly spacey elements. You get those points where there is a beauty in it, but there's also this winsome sadness that I think really comes through quite effectively. I guess my frustration is that I'm not sure it needed to be 8 minutes long. Like, it really took its time with it, and I'm not sure it really paid off what it was trying to do. Not bad. It was a cool artistic experience. I actually kind of appreciated being able to sit with that. And then, honestly, I needed the cool down. But I don't know. It was effective for what it was doing. I just wasn't wowed by it. Not bad, though. I think for those who are into that very minimalist improvisational jazz, I think they would like that. Like, I don't think it's bad. Yeah, I know. Sue me. I don't think that's bad at all. All right. Skipping over the next one for reasons I don't want to get into. Let's go to this one here. We got some synthwave coming up here. This is from the act Curses from the album Another Heaven. The song is called Caviar. Ooh, this could be swanky. Let's give it a shot. Oh, we got some synthwave here, boys and ladies, and folks outside of the binary. Oh, that is synthwave, all right. Feels opulent. Ooh. Yeah, exactly. We got our Halloween vibe whether we wanted it or not. Kind of sets us up for that Cure album that's coming tonight. I'm excited for that. That's gonna be good. Thanks, Cam. Thanks for spending some time with us. Appreciate it. It is very reminiscent of The Cure. Ooh! Ooh, I dig that.
It's always real.
All right. Hold on a moment. I feel like that song lasted a little too long. Yeah. Okay, this is another one of those cases where Bandcamp's the song that it's actually that was previewed for the mobile app is out of sync with what we have on the actual Bandcamp setup in the desktop version. So that is H2SG from Curses from the album Another Heaven. It was actually all right. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me that Corinne and House of Harm have nothing to worry about. In that this sort of brand of 80s throwback, synthwave, gothic tinged rock, you need a slightly more striking hook to truly mesmerize me. I feel like the song kind of had a number of moments where they were looking to really explode, and the synths got there, but the percussion never did, the groove never quite did. Like, I feel like giving this a little bit more muscle, or give a singer that could actually vamp more effectively, this could have gone over the top. As it is, it was pleasant. I put this on the right playlist. I'm not going to turn it off, but I'm also not going to be wowed by it either. It was, again, nice. I expect my goth music to have be a little bit more than nice. It certainly was elegant, and I certainly get what it was trying to do, but again, want a little more than that. There's plenty in that scene that can pull this off. That's all I'll say. Okay, the next song is actually one I can't preview. This is like I actually tried previewing this before on the app. It didn't work. Let's move on to the next one here. Okay, so we got it. All right, now we got some jazz here, folks. Finally, this is from Chimino. I think that's what it is. Okay, all right, Chimino. The album is called Energy 3. It's a bit of quasi-improvised jazz here, with a little bit of drum and bass. The song that makes me laugh is called Fred Not Again. Let's give it a listen. Keep the lights the way they are. I like these lights. The funny thing is I've seen Fred again, and I totally get why he's as big as he is. Like it's kind of a really impressive stage show. Ooh. Ooh, that bass got thicker. Wow. Oh, okay. That bass wants to throw some weight around. Oh, it's going somewhere. That is a meaty bass. Ah! Surprise jazz! Ooh. Very different style of improvisation that comes with this. Like, it's still improvisational. You can tell that, especially given how the syncopation of the drums and the keys are. But it feels different. Like, it feels like there's a lot better synergy going on. Also, the drums sounded great. Oh my god. Okay, I see you. Ooh, yeah, the drums sound phenomenal. There's a reason why for a second. We'll get to it. Ooh. All right, that was Chimino with the album NR. Well, thank you for the applause. I appreciate it.
What's that one called? Has anyone got any ideas? What do I call that track? What? Fred? Yeah, fuck it. That track's called Fred Not Again. That might be called Fred Not Again, actually.
Okay. Pausing besides that. Yeah, interesting way to go out. That was from Chimino from the album NRG3. The song is called Fred Not Again. Okay, so the interesting thing about this guy, he's apparently London-based. He's a drummer and a producer. That kind of explains why the percussion sounds so good and it sounds so well mic'd in terms of how it was able to build and like cascade off each other. The horns sounded phenomenal. It definitely has that improvisational feel in terms of pieces that would kind of like build up in moments and then build their climax and then dissipate a little bit. But at the same time, I thought the synth work was better. I thought the bass groove was great. I thought the horns were a really nice compliment. But again, the real showpiece here was the drum work alongside some of how it builded in, like kind of interwove with everything. It definitely had a little bit of a drum and bass vibe in terms of some of the percussion mixing, but not in a way that I felt like overpowered the mix or felt like it was overwhelmingly genre defined. But yeah, that was fun. That was a good song. Again, a little cheeky, but cheeky in the right way. Because I can imagine if you were a London producer and drummer or percussionist in any kind, I can understand the animosity there. That makes sense. Yeah, the background of recording the album is really neat. I'm reading it on Bandcamp right now. If you guys want to give this a shot, it is kind of interesting just in terms of how it is, like how cinematic the whole thing came together. It actually is pretty interesting. All right, let's keep moving. Oh, this next one. Okay. For those of you who don't know, one of my deceptively great hip-hop albums that I've covered this year is from Nah Really and The Experts called Blip. They put out an EP follow-up to it called Flip. I like that. That's cute. A lot of these songs are super short. This is only going to go about 90 seconds. The song is called Neapolitan. I want to give it a listen.
Now check the flavor, ill flavor, but ill flavor, check it out, yeah. It's like this. check the flavor, ill flavor, but ill flavor, check it out, yeah. It's like this, come on. Now check the flavor, ill flavor, but ill flavor, check it out, yeah. It's like this, come on. Now check the flavor, ill flavor, but ill flavor, check it out, yeah. It's like this, yo,
Nah, I really made progress slowly by rocking the mic at any show, no matter how lowly. Knew I could rhyme, but I wasn't convinced wholly I could be a niche favorite like Chipotle, aioli. Holy moly, scoliosis from my bag of tricks. Inside's a variety like a bag of bags of chips. Constantly spit grimy shit like I packed the lip. I make sense and don't at once. Who said you had to pick? Flicking a booger and failing is mad humbling. You should have seen all the haters I had grumbling. Mumbling to myself as the world's crumbling. The Belichickian tolerance for syllable fumbling. Yo, Tony Hawk 1, Chappelle driving, most death rhyming, shotgun. A lot of people lack a code, glad I got one. Too many rappers treat rapping like it's not fun. Far flung, far beyond imagination goes. Relatively recent development, I've been making dough. Enough to cover some costs, but not all of them. The flow's cold and has a few flavors, Neapolitan.
Ooh.
Slightly less strawberry, but it's still there.
All right, that's Neapolitan from Not Really the Expert. That was great. It was short, it was sweet, exactly like Neapolitan. Ooh. Yeah, the Belichick line was great. What happens when you have a Boston rapper who actually knows how to make Boston references without being obnoxious about it? Really like that a lot. Not a lot to say about it. The little strings flourish behind the back was nice. Again, when you only have 1 minute to get out your idea and you leave that much of an impression, I think that's a net win. I like that a lot. That was a fun song. The EP is short. Fun thing. A lot of it's more of a remix EP, I will say that, because there's a couple songs from the album that basically are just remixed by other people. Like there's a song Open Mike Eagle that from the first album that got remixed on this new project here. And yeah, like, again, I give this guy some shine. I think he's really, really nice. I like this. And again, I appreciate when independent rap can have fun with it and doesn't need to wallow in misery. When you appreciate like clever wordplay that doesn't go above and beyond to put in your face how clever it is. That matters to me. And that sort of ease and charisma is really shown across. Now I really got that down. All right, next up. Okay, we got some alternative here. Okay, this is interesting. This is from Lunar Noon. Apparently, it is going through sounds encompassing electronic, choral, jazz, and Chinese folk music. Okay, I don't know what to expect with this. The song is called Peripheral. The album is called A Circle's Round. Let's give it a shot. Rid, I hear that. That's a compliment, because the vocals are really nice here. No, I hear where you're coming from. Different artists, for one. This is more classically inspired. Vienna Tang is more pop-focused. Like, there is Theater Kid energy to this. And Vienna Tank's never been this jazzy. Ooh, I like that. I like that. That's well blended. Okay, wow, that was Peripheral from Lunar Noon from the album A Circle's Round. That was excellent. Holy crap. Few things to highlight here. The immediate comparison that jumped to mind I saw in the chat was Vienna Tang. I disagree. I hear some of it in terms of the vocal timbre and the intricacy of the melodic composition, but the tone here is much different. This is more deeply rooted in jazz. It's got a more pronounced theater kid energy complement, and I really loved how that piano built alongside the horns going wild. The drum work was excellent, all things considered, just how like frenetic and pummeling it was without being obtrusive. And yeah, that was shockingly strong. Again, the slower motion, like it's never felt the stride. This is a song that it kind of has, again, theater kid energy in that it's in your face, and that it's like it's very much trying to drive forward toward those climaxes, but it's also never going to be in the point where it's too well composed to go for broke, which might be kind of its problem. I feel like it was one grand hook away from really like grabbing me all together. I think it's close. I think that was really compelling. I'm just not sure it's all the way there. Impressive stuff though. That was cool. That was one of the cooler tracks we heard tonight. I will say that right now. All right, let's keep moving here. Running up on the end here because we're skipping a compilation. All right, we got some, oh boy. We got some flute and West African music blending together from an Ngoni. So from a flute and an Ngoni blend. This is from Anarella and Jango. Okay. The song that we have here is called Dakar Orebro. and the album is called Joyeux. I don't know what we're getting here, folks. Let's give it a listen. That is a really creative flute melody. The sax is doing fun things too. Ooh, I like that sax. That sax sounds real good. Okay, that was, I gotta get the Santo right. Takar Orebro from Anarella and Jango from the album Joyeux. That was interesting. It very much had the feel of cultural exchange, where you had the flute interplay with that other instrument. I'm trying to get the name of the instrument here. From an ngoni. And I gotta be honest, like, that's a West African instrument. One thing I'm rapidly realizing doing bandwidth is that there's a whole swath of instrumentation from around the rest of the world that I just do not have the context to fully understand. This guy, apparently he's from Mali. He's resident in Senegal right now. There's definitely an interplay there that doesn't feel like cultural exchange. It felt a lot more cohesive than I was expecting. A lot of the flourishes that you heard in the flute and sax and the ngoni, they balance out each other really well. And there was groove there, honestly, to the point where I think that song could have run longer and I would have been okay with it. It was doing cool things. I don't have the cultural context to fully understand it or fully interpret it, but that was nifty. So yeah, intriguing. Not sure it's the sort of thing I would be equipped to review well, but yeah, okay. I see you. That was cool. All right. We are nearing the end here, folks. And when I say nearing the end, we probably only have like 4 or 5 songs left. All right. Next up, we got some post-punk coming up here from Swayy and the Ghost. That is a name for a group. Oh my gosh. The album is called Let's Live a Life Better Than This. All right. I feel that energy. The song is called Tell You All the Time. I kind of get an idea where this could be going, but let's give it a shot. This is bouncy. This is very bouncy.
Just fed up with having constant company. Now I sit alone, all messed up
little ska. Very Australian on some level.
Doing well. Be yourself. You can't do it twice. Come together hand in hand. Being gone and feel out of control. They really wanna, but is it enough? They tell you all the time. Yes, they tell you all the time. They really wanna. But is it enough? They tell you all the time. They tell you all the time. Alright.
There's definitely some post-punk doing post-punky things.
Is greater than our plans. Free yourself from this device. Come together hand in hand. Be in love and feel out of control. They really wanna, but isn't enough. They tell you all the time. Yes, they tell you all the time. They really wanna. But is it enough? They tell you all the time. They tell you all the time. Alright. Yes, they tell you all the time.
Okay, that was Tell You All the Time by Swayy and the Ghost from the album Let's Live a Life Better Than This. That was fun. Again, I'm seeing this in the chat. It's very much of, this is the most post-punk of the post-punk we have heard this night. I agree. That very jaunty guitar line that was utterly infectious, paired with a terrific groove that escalated well, especially with some of the subtle synth accents coming up around the hook. That felt like post-punk that you would have gotten, let's say, 81, 82. And honestly, no qualms with that. That's great. That is a great brand of post-punk. A lot of energy. Bit of a Parquet Quartz vibe a little bit, especially when it comes to that vocals. Parquet Quartz is a little bit more ragged and raw. That felt a little tighter, but not in a bad way. And honestly, that was a lot of fun. When you dig into the lyrics, it's very much of like, it's the exasperation of being told all the time of how good your life is or how much people around you are in a good state, but being dissatisfied with it, which is such a great post-punk topic. And I kind of like how well they sold it, because it kind of gets out like, yeah, things are good, but they could be better. And I like how well that was sold. That's really effective. Really impressed with that. Yeah, but for those who mentioned the Silverbacks album, I haven't got around to it. I really, really want to, because I really, really want to cover that album at some point. But again, schedule being what it is. Ugh. All right, let's keep moving here. Only a few left here. All right, we got some Australian electronic music coming up next. No, I take it back. Argentinian electronic music coming up next. Here we go. From Diviento y Arena. That's the album. The song is called The New Hip. It's going to go for about 7 minutes. This is some Argentinian house. Honestly, don't know what we're going to get with this. Could be interesting. Let's give it a shot. Well, that's house, all right. Switch up the lights here. There we go. A little more pink. Spacey, it comes with some sense there. Okay. Got some good bounce to it. I wish the hand claps didn't sound so programmed. Also got just some pinker lights.
Welcome to the exciting world of hip. This is a new departure in language instruction for English-speaking people who want to talk to and be understood by hipsters, beatniks, juvenile delinquents, and the criminal friend.
Oh god.
To enable you to speak exactly like the hipsters themselves, we've provided an actual hipster to teach you the correct pronunciation and delivery of his language. Your instructor, Mr.
Oh no.
Keats Wrong.
Oh dear god. That is so dated and cheesy. Oh my gosh. That was very cheesy, but it was kind of cute. Yeah, kind of going, synth coming off rhythm, it's not helping this.
Welcome to the exciting world of hip. This is a new departure in language instruction.
Don't bring back the sample, man.
People who want to talk to and be understood by hipsters, beatniks, juvenile delinquents, and the criminal friend.
Sample's not getting less corny.
To enable you to speak exactly like the hipsters themselves, we've provided an actual hipster to teach you the correct pronunciation and delivery of his language. Ladies and gentlemen, your instructor, Mr. Keats Wrong.
God, that's corny. That is so corny. Kind of a shame because the rest of the song I kind of like. Like, there's a lot of parts of this that I think that work, but there's other parts of it that I just like, no, we're not doing this. Can't do it. 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and... See, we'll get to that, Odo. We'll get to it. One, 2, 3, and it. Or not. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, fine. Okay, that was The New Hip. Ow, that hurts. From Manuel Sahagan from the project Diviento y Arena. Okay, so I don't want to be mean, because apparently this guy is an up-and-coming relevant artist in Argentinian house. That could be interesting. I just don't have the cultural context to know. And honestly, I think some of the production is pretty decent. I think the groove is really good here. It's pretty, I'm not going to say bog standard for a house, but it works for a house in what it's trying to do. It's got some bounce to it. It's got flavor. It kind of bugged me when the synth kept falling off rhythm. Like but I get that feeling that was part of the point, to try to do something a little bit different. Okay, I might be able to get behind it. The sample, again, I see the comment in the chat that's like a dad joke, that it swings around, that it's so bad you can't hate it. I think you kind of can have questions with it when it kind of disrupts the entire vibe of the song. And that's kind of where I'm at with this. It feels like it's kind of disruptive in the wrong way. Not bad per se, but I'm just like, ooh, that could have been better than it was. Overall, no, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's frustrating. It doesn't throw me off per se, but I feel like I should have liked it more than I do. That's where I'm going to leave that one. Okay. We only have 3 songs left here, folks. Maybe 4 if I'm going to press my luck, because I know what happens when YouTube, when we get to the point like this in the night. Fully expect YouTube is going to knock this off in probably the next 2 or 3 songs. We'll see how many more we can get through. All right. We have some electronic music in, some jazz and hip-hop from Richard Spaven from the project called Soul Subject. And the song is called Spaven's Arc. Okay. Always interesting when producers name songs after themselves. But all right, let's give it a listen. Oh.
Hip-hop kingsmen, salute. As the world and the record spins, this testament of mankind is to see who's the best of them. It's your boy Wild Child, Richard Spaven. Let's go, come on. But before the tsunami hits, we need the entire audience with common sense to join the ark. If it was a blessing in disguise with vast amounts of fraud, while God's rest in his eyes, who'd know the odds? The fear of the phone, which would mirror the fear of the clone, where technology battles reality. The human brain waves aren't built for the advancement of such anatomy. Thus I invest in my Kingsman Academy. What millennium are we in when it's so sad to see no protection, seeing reflections of the data me? Yet we as a people continue.
Oh, Wild Child never changed.
Some say it's spiritual, others claim it's visual. For me, I feel like it all depends on the soul individual and his or her actions to back it. The world will stay divided until our souls collided up in the next world, known as the upper room. Gotta live life free till I die, then might reunite with my brother MF Doom. We are too concerned with concerns. No doubt we gotta learn to live, but first we gotta live to learn. Move with purpose, stop thinking schools can't hurt us. Read between the lines to rule above the surface. Wild Child, why you so adamant? I'm mad as shit. Had to link with Mr. Spaven cause he's my advocate. You feel the heart when we march. The drum kit and cool mic equivalent to a musical Spaven's art.
Ooh, that's nice.
As
Melodies.
The world and the record spins, this testament of mankind is to see who's the best of them.
Rest in peace to MF Doom.
But before the tsunami hits, we need the entire audience with common sense to join the ark. As the world and the record spins, this testament of mankind is to see who's the best of them. But before the tsunami hits, we need the entire audience with common sense to join the Walking past me, a stranger once asked me, "Son, where are you headed?" I was quick to get offended, didn't realize what he was asking. He caught me when I was walking, but standing still, thinking of my last week. I knew because of my facial expression, I wasn't present. Obvious PTSD of my adolescence. Coping with no hopefulness in this life. Waiting for the sun to shine tonight, blinding of his line of sight. One forward step is all that it takes to see distraction of all of them fakes to determine his fate. Now he's more wiser, even more decisive. Fragility in the forefront is where his life is. Envisioning a picture of a painting, once resembled himself, and the inner soul he was hating. Coming to terms of how he could change his reflection. Living with perception of his non-intersection. Of forever traffic in the form of a holographic. Once a B-boy, always a B-boy when he's active. AI is grinning, cause AI is winning. Except the soul can never display vibes I'm spinning. If I was a DJ, I would declare AI can never interpret the end of pocket snare. Salute to Kingsman preserving the sound when you connect the dots from Spaven and Brown. One. As the world and the record spins, this testament of mankind is to see who's the best of them. But before the tsunami hits, we need the entire audience with common sense to join the arc. As the world and the record spins, this testament of mankind is to see who's the best of them. But before the tsunami hits, we need the entire audience with common sense to join the arc.
All right, that was Spaven's Arc by Richard Spaven from the album Soul Subject. Honestly, that was pretty good. I think Wild Child, at least on that song, was a really good compliment to how sharp those drums sound. Again, like apparently Richard Spaven's like predominant practice is playing the drums, and that live sound had a lot of punch to it, especially in terms of how the subtler melody grows up behind them. It definitely felt like some older school, I'd say late 80s, early 90s hip hop. But I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for that sound, and while lyrics are a little dated, but the shout out to MF Doom felt earned, and I felt like the song was overall pretty good. Yeah, I'm not going to complain about that. That was a generally pleasant song. Yeah, I can't complain. Nice stuff. All right. We only have 2 more songs tonight. Everyone put something in the chat if you're actually still around here. I'm not sure how many of you are still here. Because, again, it looks like it's pretty quiet tonight, which I kind of expected given that it's like before Halloween. No, it's on Halloween, per se. And a lot of you are probably coming out tonight. We got a couple spare tracks to end things off. Yep. So, all right. So next up we have from Andrew Bird. The song's called Without a Leg to Stand On. And apparently this is trying to emulate like very early Fleetwood Mac, which, okay, I'm not against that. The song is called Without a Leg to Stand On from the album Cunningham Bird from Andrew Bird. Let's give it a shot.
Well, I got nothing but time, no time for living. I've been everywhere.
So do I,
but it's
yeah.
all the same.
I just need somebody that I can lean on. Nobody wants to keep you when you're in love with the game.
But you know that I can't let go, and there ain't nothing left to show. Got the feeling
that's very pleasant.
I can't say no, without a leg to stand on.
I don't know about this though.
There's so many fine people that I believe in. They don't care where I'm going. It's not their show.
Well, I got nothing but time, no time for living. I used to be somebody, but that was so long ago. Look around but you won't see me.
I'm not sure Madison Cunningham is the right balance for this song.
There ain't nothing to say.
Like, Andrew Bird has a little bit more balance. Cunningham's a good singer, but she doesn't have the same fire.
And there ain't nothing left to show. Got the feeling I can't say no without a leg to stand on.
Like, there was an earthier edge to Stevie Nicks that Cunningham does not have. Oh, it's a covers album. That would explain a lot, yeah. Ah, okay. I'll talk about this later.
But you won't see me. Just a picture of what I used to be. There ain't nothing to set me free. But you know that I can't let go. And there ain't nothing left to show. Got the feeling I can't say no. Got the feeling I can't say no.
And don't dislike it.
Got the feeling I can't say no. Got the feeling I can't let go.
That's really pleasant and likable. Jesus. I knew something felt a little off with this. Yeah, the arrangements are strange. Okay. That's Without a Leg to Stand On by Andrew Bird. Well, Andrew Bird and Madison Cunningham from the project Cunningham Bird. Okay, a little bit of context that I'm now discovering upon reading the Bandcamp description of this project. Apparently, it's a covers album, which I normally don't cover, that's my mistake. It's on me. Again, we're 3 hours in. I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace here. Apparently it's covering Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks' initial collaboration before the official Fleetwood Mac run in the mid-70s. So, okay, might explain why the arrangement's a little eclectic. It's trying to do different things, and honestly, it's a very pleasant song. I like the song, but I guess the issue I have with it is that Madison Cunningham is no Stevie Nicks. Like, I'm sorry, She's got a very willowy, pretty voice, but you need to have something a little bit special to pull this off. And Stevie Nicks' presence is very hard to replicate, and I feel like this isn't doing it. Like, it's a little too prim. It's a little bit too well composed, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. Not gonna say it's bad per se, but yeah, it was okay. Should it be a little better? All right, last or second last song tonight, and technically it's one I could skip if I wanted to, but to give you guys a little bit of context, one thing that you often see among certain music critic circles is review of the DJ Kick series. Now, the DJ Kick series has been long running. I think they have a lot of entries in that series where they basically go to specific producers and they fit them into a specific block in which they want to have a specifically composed sound. It's kind of, they use it to amplify, they use it to give them a little bit more attention. I've seen a lot of DJ Kick series get a lot of attention, like Pitchfork tends to review them fairly regularly. This is one for Honey Dijon. So it technically could fall into you're covering a compilation series. I'm going to push it back against that because DJ Kicks is a little bit above that. It has a little bit more of a storied compilation to its relevance. So we've got one which is called, with Honey Dijon, called Finding My Way on this project, which is the DJ Kicks for Honey Dijon. Got about 4 minutes. Let's see how it turns out. Featuring
when you're losing your mind, when love has no meaning, don't be cruel to be kind. When you're stuck in the system, and no one's on your side, when you're going through changes, and your truth cannot hide, your truth cannot hide.
A little bit of vintage house in some of the keyboards, but now it's gotten a little bit more modern, especially with how its flow is coming through.
Through hard times and sunshine, we keep on moving through the day, through bad vibes and good times. I'm just finding my way. When things get in my way, I keep on giving myself all love. I'm just finding my way. I'm searching for peace, I'm always finding my way. I'm searching for peace, I'm always finding my way. I'm searching for peace, I'm always finding my way. I'm searching for
It's gonna come. Like, we haven't had a massively long song yet, which I think might give us a little bit more of a breathing room here, but I'll play a Kelly Lee Owens song at the end of it, and we'll go off of that. And if y'all jinx it, then you know what you did. It definitely feels very vintage in what it's doing. That was Finding My Way from the DJ Kicks compilation for Honey Dijon. And yeah, that was good. I wouldn't say I was wowed by it. I feel like the very vintage sample kind of time locks it a little bit. I think that low pulsating synth does some good work for it, but I'm not sure it puts it over the top. Again, it feels like it was lacking a greater crescendo to really, or like a really striking hook. It feels like it locked into its groove and then kind of stayed there. not bad for it. And technically, that would mean we are done with our stream tonight. And so, again, thank you all for sticking around this long. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. We have not been killed yet, amazingly. Again, I will see people rushing into the chat if and when that happens. So fingers crossed it doesn't happen. But in the meantime, you know what? To end things off, I kind of feel like I want to play something that I've already reviewed. And if somebody's going to get pissy about it, don't. And it's from Kelly Lee Owens' album, Dream State. This album is phenomenal. I have to keep stressing that continuously. Again, whatever it could be played here, I don't know what it's going to be played. I'm just going to go take a look at. Oh, Love You God. Love You God's a great song. So I'm going to play one song from this. This will be our closing song of the night. Once again, thank you all for coming out this Halloween evening. This has been a lot of fun. This does not remotely feel like Halloween at all. But again, this is some great music, a little bit of house, a little bit of indie pop. Let's give it a shot. Love You Got from Dream State by Kelly Lee Owens. And thank you all. Good night. Ooh, that's a synth. That bass royal. Between you and I, feel at a tide of got it. Feel this silence between you and the tide, between you and I want it. Want it. Killer song. Thank you all for sticking around this late. We're nearly 10:30 and we haven't been killed yet. Fingers crossed we managed to get through the entire song without being killed. Such euphoria. Gotta love it. Happy Halloween to everybody. Thank you all who have stuck around this long again. And with that,